Would you be the jerk for refusing to take a coworker to the airport? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, am I the jerk for telling my sister-in-law to walk her daughter to school? I, female 23, am a university graduate and live at home with my mother. She owns the house with a mortgage that's been fully paid off. I pay her rent, around half of the market rate for our area, and do most of the housework. Me and my mother both work a lot. I work in healthcare and work irregular shift patterns, and my mom is self-employed and occasionally has to travel for work. My brother, male 31, his wife Rose, female 31, and their daughter, female 6, moved back into our mom's house on Friday. They got a mortgage on a home, but it turned out to have a lot of maintenance issues, the biggest ones being with their toilet and shower not functioning. Also, their heating doesn't work. It's estimated to take at least a month to fix everything, so in the meantime, they're staying here. Rose came to me and asked if I could take their daughter to school, as her school is a 5-minute drive from the hospital. Normally, their neighbor, who has a child the same age, would take her to school, but that's no longer an option. My brother works full-time and his shifts clash with doing this. He starts at 7 a.m. and he and Rose share a car, as she only works one shift a week on Sundays. I told Rose that I can't commit to taking my niece to school every day. She needs to be dropped off at school for 8 a.m. and sometimes I'm doing overnight shifts that don't finish until 9 or 10 a.m. or I'm doing shifts that start really early in the morning. Rose got a bit upset and asked why I can't just explain to my boss that I need to be available for school drop-off. She didn't wait for an answer and said she knows it's not that simple, but she needs me to help her. In my job, if you start requesting restricted availability, they will give you way less shifts. I couldn't understand why Rose wouldn't walk her daughter to school, as it's a 15-minute walk from our mom's house to get there, with no hills and plenty of safe crossings. Rose and their daughter don't have any health conditions that would make this not doable. I asked Rose why she wouldn't walk her daughter to school, and she said that's too far to walk with a young child. I showed her the distance on Google Maps. I assumed she wasn't aware of how close it was, and she reiterated that it was too far. I said to Rose, I think that's her best option, but I cannot take her daughter to school every day. Later that day, my mom told me that Rose came to her really upset that I refused to help. My mom said that she knows I normally work irregular shifts, but that it would be a really nice thing for me to do. I feel like I'm going crazy because when I was a kid, I went to the same school and my mom walked me there and back from the house. I said no, and my mom said that's fine, I understand. Now I've got my brother calling me selfish and he said it's a small ask that even their neighbor could do it and I'm refusing. Am I really such a jerk? In this situation, I don't really understand what they're expecting OP to do. Sacrifice their career and put them at risk of getting bad shifts or little shifts just so they can drive their niece to school? I mean, not only is it not OP's responsibility here, there's just no way that it could work. Am I tripping, or does everybody in the story not somehow understand that literally OP cannot do it? It's not even like a choice OP's making. Neither Dentist7899 commented, not the jerk. By their own logic, the father of the children could shift his schedule to drop off his child. How's the kid getting home? Walking? Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy getting to decide whether or not all of these people are jerks, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? Our next story is, am I the jerk? I, 32-year-old female, complimented a female nurse during OBGYN appointment for having nice arm muscles and she snapped at me. Am I the jerk? I, 32-year-old female, complimented a female nurse during OBGYN appointment for having nice arm muscles. She was very bothered by my comment for some reason, which I'm trying to wrap my head around. She went on saying that most people working on themselves at the gym have serious mental health issues and are working out to channel through it and not to look nice. I apologized and told her I meant no harm and that I simply admired her for looking strong. She kept getting more angry and I just stopped responding. I left the office feeling really confused. Any input would be greatly appreciated from this awkward human who was just trying to socialize. I would like to add that she was wearing the type of scrubs with cap sleeves that specifically show off your upper arms. I would hope that most people would understand that OP wasn't trying to do anything wrong here. OP was just trying to be nice, give a nice compliment. I mean, shoot, it'd make my day if somebody was like, oh, you have nice arm muscles. I'd be like, well, thank you, I haven't been trying at all. I think, with no disrespect, exactly what the nurse started getting into is kind of what's coming to the surface as to why they're even upset to begin with. Bruce W. commented, "Not the jerk. Nothing wrong with saying nice guns to someone. Who the freak brings up mental health issues because they got complimented for their muscles? I suppose probably someone with mental health issues, but dang, quite an overreaction." Our next story is, am I the jerk for putting on a "Do Not Disturb" sign at my door? I, 25-year-old female, work at home for 5 years and had been supporting my family with my dream job. I pay all the bills consistently and even buy groceries once in a while. I live with my mom, 59-year-old female, who's been a housewife all her life, and my brother, 44-year-old male, and sister-in-law, who both don't have jobs but does labor work in the house. My job pays well while I'm at home, and I genuinely like and thrive working in a peaceful setting where I'm not interrupted for 8 hours a day, so I can find myself inside my room, which also serves as an office. My mother is aware that I dislike being bothered, but occasionally she just barges into my room to talk, gossip, do chores, etc., which is really quite distracting and makes it easy for me to lose focus. I think I got ADHD, but I'm yet to be diagnosed. I've recently gotten the idea of making my own "Do Not Disturb" sign after my niece had a birthday party in the house. It was noisy, so after interacting and buying the kids snacks, I've locked myself in my room, put on headphones, and became very productive with no disturbance at all. The sign I've made says, "Do not disturb, please contact me in Messenger to make sure I'm still accessible when needed during work hours." The problem, earlier today, our electric wiring got fixed, which means I can't work for a few hours with no lights on, so I took a nap. When I woke up, I saw my mom messaged me asking me to reimburse her the money she spent for the wiring. When I came out of the room, I asked her if she needed the money now. She replied, "If you please," in a very rude tone, which took me aback. When I returned to my room to resume working now that the lights are back, I can hear her ranting, "Why do I need to lock the door for that? And that I don't need privacy." I didn't listen further because I'm honestly hurt. I've been nothing but a good daughter for the family. I pay the bills monthly without any help from the family members. They still went ahead to gossip about me just because I've locked the door while working and getting mad for wanting privacy. Am I the jerk? The house is tense right now. I'm still in my room at the moment balancing what I should do. Thank you for listening, and please be gentle if I'm in the wrong. I think working from home can be tricky in that regard, and honestly, I know just as well as anyone. Anytime I'm reading Reddit stories, I'm working from home. I feel like it's pretty safe to say OP's not the jerk because you need to have that separation. It's a very healthy and reasonable thing to want. OP is essentially clocked into work. Your mom doesn't swing by the office and just pop in to chill and clean under your desk or something. Or maybe she does and you have a very rad office workplace that you work for. Trickfew commented, "Not the jerk. There are 3 adults taking advantage of your generosity, yet can't be bothered to respect your time. All 3 of them should have jobs to pay their own way in life. It certainly isn't your responsibility to make their lives easy while you work hard." Our next story is, would I be the jerk if I spent the money meant to pay someone who did a job for me? I, female 70, have backyard chickens. I plan to have a new, bigger coop built for them this year. My regular contractor ghosted me a couple of times for an estimate, so I was whining to my lawn guy about that. My lawn guy said he knew a guy that would probably be willing to do it, and he probably wouldn't ask for money. I said I would feel bad if someone did all that work and didn't get paid for it. This is important for later. Lawn guy gave my number to a guy, Jason, who texted me and arranged for him to come look at the site and discuss what I wanted. He was stoked about the job and asked if it would be okay if he came after work each day during the week. I told him I didn't care when he did it as long as it was done by the end of July. It occurred to me after he left that we had never discussed his fee other than him saying, "I work cheap." I ordered the materials from Home Depot, then Jason and I went there and picked it up with his truck. I paid for everything. For the next couple of weeks, he came by after work. He finished the job a week before the end of July. After he picked up all the building materials and loaded his truck, I asked him, "How much do I owe you?" He said that he would need to figure that out since he'd picked up a few things at Home Depot and needed to calculate his costs and that he'd let me know. That was on July 24th. As of today, November 17th, I've not heard from Jason to pay him. I've texted him 7 times, called him 2 times, even asked the lawn guy to pass along that I'm still looking to pay him for his work. I've been unable to contact Jason, and Lawn Guy is apparently reluctant to disclose any personal information about Jason and kind of smiles when he says that. My son, an attorney, says that since we didn't discuss a price and there's no contract, and I bought the materials, I'm not legally obligated to pay him if he shows up a year from now looking for the money. Also, the fact that Lawn Guy said Jason would probably do it for free tells me that Jason had no intentions of taking money for the job. Why? I have no idea. Sometimes I joke that I got reverse scammed. He did the work and ghosted me for the money rather than taking the money and not showing up for the work. I'm not complaining, but I feel bad that he did all that work in the brutal heat and I haven't been able to pay him. My thought is to hang on to the money until the end of the year, and if I haven't heard from him, use it to replace my sump pump that's limping along. I feel like I've done my due diligence in trying to contact him. I only have his phone number and first name, tried reverse lookup on his phone number and came up empty. So would I be the jerk if I spend this money if my deadline passes and he hasn't claimed his money? Update, I found him thanks to a suggestion. I searched his phone number on PayPal or Venmo. I found him on PayPal, sent him $550 and a note thanking him for his excellent work and his kindness. Thanks for all of the kind words here, and for some of you, thanks for the laughs and giggles. To put some minds at ease, I'm 1000% positive he didn't bury anything under the chicken coop, as it's built on asphalt. Maybe I'm just a callous, money-grubbing jerk, but does anybody else feel like OP was too nice? Going ahead and searching their phone number on PayPal, finding that there is an account, and just blindly sending out $550 in the hopes that they use that account, that it is connected to that guy's pink account or anything like that. I mean, just because it did return an account on PayPal or Venmo doesn't mean you can just blindly trust it. I mean, I myself, this guy literally doesn't want to make the effort to reach out to me for 500 plus bucks. I'm just gonna keep that for myself. Thanks for the chicken coop. I hope you disappearing isn't a bad thing. I hope it wasn't like the one place you could find to dump your arsenic or something. Cosmo Humanist commented, "You seem like a good-hearted person. It's likely he won't ask for money at this point, but to be safe, what I would do is get $200 in 20s, put it in an envelope and stash it away till the spring. If he comes back around, you'll have something set aside. If not, then assume it's all been settled. Not the jerk." Our next story is, am I the jerk for walking out of the restaurant and leaving my friend? My girlfriends and I went to a restaurant 2 days ago. I was the designated driver. I ordered my meal and they ordered their meal. I went to take a picture of my plate, and before I could even take the picture, one of them used her fork and stirred up my food. I got upset and asked her why she would do that, and she told me it was cringe to take pictures of food. I could tell the other girls were uncomfortable, but no one stood up for me. All I wanted was a dang pic because my plate was presented beautifully. I got upset and just walked out of the restaurant and drove home, leaving them behind. When I got home, I asked who paid for my meal and zelled her the cost. They started texting me and telling me that it was just a joke, what I did was immature, and that it was wrong of me to leave them behind considering I was the driver. I do feel like I overreacted, but I also feel like what she did was mean. Am I the jerk? Edit, I did tell my friends I was going to leave, I don't want to be here anymore, then left. My meal was steak, gravy, mash, and caviar, and it had a hibiscus plant on it since people are assuming it was pasta. Not sure if that's important information or not. The girls who didn't stand up for me laughed at the situation awkwardly. I could tell they were uncomfortable, but they didn't say a word. The person who paid for my meal was one of the girls who laughed, not the person who stirred up my plate. I was only trying to take a picture of my plate. I wasn't holding anyone back from eating their food. I just don't see the problem in people wanting to take a picture of the food they get, especially for somebody like me who just frankly doesn't go out to eat very often. If there's a plate of really nice looking food, I might just be wanting to take a picture to show my mom. But also most importantly to me, it's the digging around in somebody else's food. I'm a little bit of like a germaphobe kind of thing, and although what they did isn't necessarily like, I would not be happy if someone went messing around with my food. I would be like, what are you doing? High Altitude commented, in what world does a person have the gall to dig around in your fresh plate of food, mock you for taking a picture of it, treat your objection like it was a joke, and then expect you to entertain their disgusting company for the rest of the evening and to chauffeur them home? That person should be banished to live in a closed convent in the outskirts of Siberia till she learns how to use manners when interacting with others. You are not the jerk, and it was classy to pay for your food later. It's time to shed some people from your friends list. Our next story is, am I the jerk for driving myself to get pads? I, 18-year-old female, recently went on a trip with my mom, 50-year-old female. We drove her car down to an Airbnb where we stayed for a couple of weeks. I've been on birth control since I was about 15 for irregular, painful, and heavy periods. Save for a few times that I've forgotten to take the pill, I haven't had my period in years. For some reason, my birth control just decided to stop working while we were on this trip. I was taking it consistently and on time, but I ended up getting it anyway. Because I haven't had my period in years, I was both unprepared physically and materially. I had no pain relievers and, most importantly, no pads or tampons. We weren't in walking distance of any stores, and frankly, I wasn't comfortable walking alone in an unfamiliar neighborhood regardless. I asked my mom if she could drive me to go get pads, and she said we would later. By the next day, I'd bled through multiple pairs of underwear. I asked her again, and she said she would go when she had time. I asked if I could just drive myself, and she told me no. I understand her reasoning. I'm a young driver, her car isn't one I'm super familiar with, and we're in a new area. I get it. But it essentially meant that I just had to wait for her to go get me what I needed. I reminded her a few times over the next few days. Even after washing my underwear, it was stained and gross and essentially unwearable. Toilet paper didn't do much to help as a makeshift pad. Eventually, I decided I just needed to do it myself. While she was out, I took her car to the nearest convenience store, maybe a 10-minute drive, and got what I needed. Before I left, I sent her a text saying that I was going to grab the pads and that she didn't need to worry about it. When I got back, she was waiting for me and ticked. She told me that she said I wasn't allowed to use her car. I told her that I had no other way to get to the store. She said that she would have gone and gotten what I needed, but I'd reminded her that I'd been asking for days. I feel like I didn't have much else choice. Am I the jerk? I mean, it is an OP's car, but I feel like most people should understand OP really didn't have much choice here. Is it right to steal the car? Ultimately, no, but I myself understand. Like, I get it. I'm not gonna fault OP myself. Ulysses commented, not the jerk. Listen, you essentially stole her car and that is illegal, but my God, why would your own mother wait days while you're actively bleeding to go get menstrual products for you? I'd be livid if my mom did that to me. Not that she ever would, but still. Our next story is, am I the jerk for not babysitting my two siblings during my mom's honeymoon? Okay, I don't think I am the jerk, but everyone's telling me I am, so I need extra points of view here. I'm 17 and I just started university. My mom married Marcus 1 month ago, and she's going on her honeymoon this month. The duration is 4 days. I'm the older sister. I have two siblings, one 12 years old and other with 4, and my mother told me I would have to babysit them while she and her husband are in their honeymoon. I've always babysat them in the afternoon since both my mom and Marcus work, but I can only babysit them after 3 p.m. because of my classes. I told them they would have to get a babysitter for the morning because the 12 is in school already and the 4-year-old isn't, and I can't just miss 4 entire days of classes to stay with him. She said she can't do that because they spent a lot of money on this honeymoon and the wedding, and they're also paying a loan they used to buy land to build a house. I told her that I really can't miss this class. I study medicine, so watching these classes is extremely important. Not to mention I have practice classes, which I have a limited amount of times I can't miss. She insisted, saying that it was a one-time thing and that she can't have anything. Marcus said I also had this responsibility since I'm their older sister. I refused, and they're telling everyone about it, and everyone is taking their side. I don't get it. Am I being selfish here? I have classes from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. almost every day. The 12-year-old enters school at 8:15, so I can drop him off, but I can't leave the 4-year-old alone, and I also can't stay home to be with him. Please tell me if I'm in the wrong and be brutally honest, and if you have any advice, I would deeply appreciate it. Edit, I'm not sure if everyone will see this. I don't think we can pin comments, but I talked with one of my cousins, and he accepted taking care of my 4-year-old brother during the time I'm in class. His wife loves kids and they don't have any yet, so she said it would be a good experience. I haven't told my mother, so I'm not sure how she'll react. Does it not shock anybody else the fact that OP says their family are all or mostly on the mom side here? I mean, I don't want to be rude, but it makes me start to question if any of that other family have ever gone to university. Because to me, it kind of sounds like they're all saying, forget it, OP, who needs that university education? You can just put that on pause for 4 days to watch your brother. You know, just pick it up after a week, ask for some extra credit. Because apparently it's supposed to be OP's responsibility to watch their 4-year-old sibling now? Greek American Dom commented, "Not the jerk. Your mother's poor planning is not your emergency. This is something she should have discussed with you, not demanded, long before the plans were set. And of course, you shouldn't miss your classes." Our next story is, am I the jerk for treating my kids differently due to their own decisions? Having disagreement with my wife. Kid 1, 19-year-old male, saves money and I've been teaching him about investing and he's very interested. Kid 2, 17-year-old male, saves no money from doing the exact same work during the same time period, spends it all on his friends, and despite my guidance cares little about saving or investing. Kid 3, 14-year-old female, just started working this year and has 7 times more money than Kid 2, which was a pleasant surprise to me the way she's taken responsibility and has taken an interest in investing. They've all held the exact same summer job, except Kid 1 is now old enough to legally work as an adult so he can work during the school year. With Kid 1, I sold him a car for $5,000, which he paid for in cash. Car was worth around $9,000. I tried giving him my old stick shift, but he didn't like it and wanted a bigger car. I let them make their decisions, so I sold him our other car. Well, that car had a major breakdown within 6 months of him giving us $5,000. So, in an effort to make things right, I bought it back from him and we agreed to use it to put a down payment on a RAV4. I also cover half the payment, but he pays insurance and 50% of the loan payment. With Kid 3, we're looking to set up a child's investment account, and I've also borrowed money from her and I'm paying it back in interest. Her bank account doesn't have access to CDs or lightweight investments, so I set up the bank of Daddy and pay her interest. With Kid 2, I've attempted to correct bad spending behaviors that he has. He has next to no money. I mean, they've all gotten the same talks, the same education, the same offer of help, but I don't control what they actually do with their money. So he hangs out with friends and likes to throw money around, which at his age isn't a huge red flag for me, but it does limit what I can actually do with him right now. And at his age, Kid 1 had nearly $10,000 to his name. My wife has noticed the dealings I've had with each kid and somehow thinks I need to correct the situation so Kid 2 can feel more included. However, in my view, I'm doing the exact same thing with them all. They're all included and only limited by their own decisions. He's upset that he doesn't have money, but he also gets upset when I try to tell him why ordering $60 worth of Wendy's for 2 people through DoorDash is a terrible idea. I know there's things I could do to make him happy, but the most important part of financial education is teaching discipline, which won't be learned by bailing him out of his decisions. Edit, I did not say in the OP that I needed to borrow money from my daughter. If you read the entire sentence, I explained exactly what I was doing, acting as a bank. Edit, the focus of my post was the difficulty between me and my wife and her perception of how I was handling it. I didn't indicate that me and Kid 2 have some sort of contemptuous relationship. There's plenty we have in common and do together. No, he doesn't have ADHD. No, we and I don't disclude him. Yes, making crap up about us is on you. The people who are asking questions are great. The people hurtling darts are just keyboard warriors looking for the worst in people. So it seems pretty obvious that OP hasn't had the best experience with all of the people in the comments. That said, I don't see any problem with OP's processes. I think it's very understandable. I think as long as OP is extending that olive branch as much as possible to kid number 2, and by that I mean if kid 2 reaches out and says, okay, you know what, I want to take it a little bit more seriously, what should I do here, how can you help me, then OP would help, and OP would point out how to be a little bit more discretionary with your finances and whatnot. OP's only helping out the other kids with money and capital based off of decisions they've made. You just kind of can't do the same thing for kid 2 if they haven't done that. Maricat commented, "Not the jerk, but the money isn't the issue. It's his desire to feel generous and important and needed and wanted by his friends. This is a dangerous habit because it's an emotional one that can really derail his life if it becomes a permanent coping mechanism. Forget the money for a minute. How do you address the underlying cause?" Our next story is, am I the jerk because I didn't take a coworker to the airport? Just started a new job working 3 weeks on and 3 weeks off. This is my first time working for 3 weeks straight. I lived around 2 hours from the job, while my coworkers could be anywhere in the US, so most of them fly in. About a week and a half ago, a guy I never met comes and joins the crew. He was a chain smoker. At the end of 3 weeks, I was asked if I could drop him off at the airport because he knew I drove to the location. I told him no, I couldn't, and walked to my car and left. The reasons why I didn't want to was because he smelled like cigarettes and cigars, and I didn't want my car to smell like that. And also because I don't want to be known as the guy who takes people to the airport before I leave. Now, I heard that people know I didn't drop him off, and he doesn't like me. I feel like I had the right to refuse to drop him off, but am I the jerk? Edit, thanks to everyone who commented. I feel much better with my decision to set the boundary and not let it turn into a nightmare like it has done for others. Once you do something nice, it's just expected next time around. I haven't been around too many smokers in my life. Thankfully, both my parents were, but they quit when I was like 10 years old, roughly. Just being a smoker alone, is that enough to just permeate somebody's car? Enough to the point where you don't even want the person in there? Like, I get if they were wanting to like bust a cigarette out in the car, but hopefully they would have enough control and decency to not do that. I'm gonna just say, could OP have been a nice guy and helped them out and drove them to the airport? Sure. Is OP flat out a jerk for choosing not to? I doubt it. And fair's fair, I wouldn't want to end up being the guy that people think is the free ride to the airport. Suspicious Juice commented, "Not the jerk. That smoke smell seriously makes me sick to my stomach. Also, it's ridiculous to ask a perfect stranger to drive you anywhere, coworker or not. Was your drive to the airport the 2 hours? 'Cause heck no. Not that it changes my vote either way, but I'm curious to what level the audacity rose." OP replied, "It's a 30-minute detour. With traffic, I have no clue and didn't want to start being the guy who takes people to the airport." Our next story is, am I the jerk for singing at my sister's wedding? I, female 17, have an older sister, female 23, who got married last weekend. The wedding had all of the extended family from her side and the groom's, and we both have big families, so the wedding was pretty big. During the reception, my aunt had requested a song from the DJ and went up to the microphone by the dance floor and started singing along to a Katy Perry song. I assumed she just did this spontaneously and this wasn't pre-planned. I just assumed that this was something any guest could do, as a bit later my other sister did the same thing with a different song. Afterwards, I requested a song, Yellow by Coldplay if that makes a difference, and sang it. My sister, the bride, was giving me a weird look with her hands on her hips the whole time. Towards the end of the reception, when most of the guests were leaving, my sister called me embarrassing and asked why I got up and sang at her wedding. I said that I didn't understand the problem and pointed out that our aunt and other sister also sang. She explained that they were pre-planned as a surprise and songs that she wanted them to sing. She said that I sing really badly and she hadn't asked me to sing and that I should have checked with her. I was really taken aback because no one mentioned to me that they were planned to sing. How was I supposed to know? I felt really embarrassed and apologized, although I didn't really mean it, I just wanted the conversation to be over, and she said that her wedding isn't about me. I think she'll get over it, but am I the jerk? I think let this be a lesson. Before you go and take the microphone and start doing karaoke at a wedding, make sure that it's actually okay to take the microphone and do karaoke at a wedding. I'd like to dedicate this one to the bride and groom. When you were here before, couldn't look you in the eyes. Remarkable by 4220 commented, "Gentle, you're the jerk because you're 17 and probably still learning social norms about weddings and life lessons about making assumptions. It's generally a bad idea to do something attention-seeking at someone's wedding. Other people doing it doesn't mean you can do it without permission from the bride and groom. If your aunt and sister had sung without permission, they would have also been exhibiting jerk behavior, and that wouldn't have made your choices okay. A sincere apology is what really makes the difference here. It may be helpful to acknowledge that you actually hurt your sister's feelings and treat her like her feelings matter to you in this situation. Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to share the hotel? I'm research engineer, attending a conference soon, and my employer is covering my hotel expenses. I booked a hotel room for myself and made sure to choose a nicer one by picking a budget-friendly flight and saving money elsewhere. There's another colleague, staff research scientist, who's also going to the conference, but his trip isn't funded by our employer. He mentioned that he's on a budget and kind of hinted that he'd like to share my hotel room, even offering to pay the extra cost for the additional bed. However, he earns significantly more than I do, and I feel uncomfortable sharing the room, even if he's willing to pay. Additionally, he didn't directly ask me if he could share the room, he just brought it up as a general idea. Moreover, we're co-authors on a paper for the conference, which makes the situation a bit more complex. So, am I the jerk if I refuse to share my hotel room? I think this one is extremely easy and straightforward for OP. I think they're not the jerk. And I think if they say straight up, I'm not comfortable sharing my hotel room with anyone, I'm just not, it's a personal thing and a boundary I'm not willing to cross, then that colleague needs to accept that. Nectarine Any commented, I do not share a room with anyone other than my spouse and dog, full stop. 14 High replied, I choose this guy's wife and or dog. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy Am I the Jerk Here story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.